supervised traffic, are there airport inside?
Okay, we're flowing to 170, South Street 48.
03000, that was 2081.
1580, Delta 1580, heading to 300, clear for the visual approach, runway 27 left.
Heading 300, clear visual approach, 27 left, Delta 1588.
2081, I don't know if it's too late for you or not, but 27 left available.
Sure, we'll take it down as 2081.
2081, roger, runway 27 left. Local.
Hello captains, and welcome to this Explain 10 video. About a year ago I was searching for an ultra-realistic flying experience, and I remember going to Google and entering ultra-realistic flight simulation. And one of the results I got on the screen was Explain 10. And I believe at the time I wrote a very harsh review of Explain for the simple fact that it did not really have any airports that came with the product. And for me at the time, coming from the FSX background, I was expecting to see that. Now, after fiddling around with the simulator and really flying the aircraft in Explain, I came to realize that it is a far more realistic flight simulation platform, and that it's actually worth the investment that I made in the first place. So I went back to Amazon and I kind of rewrote the review, and it probably still needs updating. My opinion has really changed over the past year, but what's very important is that the Laminar Research and the guys behind Explain have definitely realized the importance of having good scenery, good freeware scenery that ships out of the box with the product, and that people will kind of go and look for it. So if you're like me, for example, the first thing you do in a sim is that you'll go and you'll search for your home country airport and kind of see how it looks, and then if it's not there you get really disappointed, or you're going to go to a major airport like Heathrow or Schiphol or Düsseldorf, and you'll be really disappointed if you see nothing but a runway and some taxiways. So from a strategic point of stance, I think Laminar Research has done something that is extremely smart, which is, okay, we are going to be focusing on building a flight simulation platform that gives you realistic flight dynamics, that will give you true aircraft physics, it will give you good weather representation, it will give you winds aloft, it will allow you to fly in a world that very closely mimics the real thing, but we are going to allow the community to help us develop Explain as well. And for this reason, they've created something called the Explain Scenery Gateway, which hosts a number of airports completely free of charge. They're developed by people from the community for Explain, and those airports, believe it or not, use only native Explain objects, or what they call them, the Lego bricks, if you will, of Explain. And what you're looking at here is Atlanta International Airport in the United States, and it is actually one of those airports that is part of the Explain Scenery Gateway. And let me tell you, I was very impressed when I saw some of these freeware airports. Now, this gateway will either indicate that this airport is already part of Explain, or that it will be in the next release. And believe it or not, today Explain has 2,500 airports that are completely freeware. And let me tell you, they look pretty good. They're far better, for example, from the freeware airports, or the kind of default airports that come with FSX and P3D. So folks, in this video I am going to basically present you with a short guide to the Explain Scenery Gateway. I will show you a few airports that were developed by community developers that are completely free of charge, and some of them look absolutely awesome. They are freeware, but really payware quality. And when I say payware quality, I mean, kind of like the low-end payware airports. So don't expect any, any high-fidelity 3D objects, but nevertheless, they look absolutely stunning. Now, I have a word from Laminar Research that they are actually working on very high-fidelity 3D objects for X-Plane, and that should only help this community, the scenery community, thrive with time. So, folks, without further ado, let us go ahead and look at a few of these airports. I will then take you to the Scenery Gateway and show how you can search for airports as a user of X-Plane 10, or also show you where you can submit your work if you're a developer. And I would assume that if you're a developer already, you'd know where to go. But if you have the intention of being a scenery developer for X-Plane, then this guide should be able to shed some light on what it takes to do that. So let's go ahead and delve into it. Okay, captains. So the first airport that I want to show you is the one that we started with, which is Atlanta International Airport in the United States. And as you can see, for a freeware airport that was created completely from the Lego bricks of X-Plane, which are the default 3D objects of Laminar Research, this is an incredibly detailed airport. It's got lots of features, the markings here on the taxiway, some static aircraft, the jetways, some of the ground services vehicles, and it's got actually quite a number of buildings, and these are all 3D models, and they look pretty good. And as you saw in the approach, just in the footage right before we got here, even at night, this airport actually looks very nice. So here, let me switch back here. See this area right there? Again, it looks really, really nice. Absolutely free, and created completely with Lego bricks of X-Plane. Let me go ahead and change the time here. And by the way, if you are interested in developing scenery, for X-Plane, and maybe have your airport featured in the next release of X-Plane, all you need to do really is download a tool called WED. WED is the tool that is used by scenery developers to develop sceneries for X-Plane. It's a free tool. I will, of course, provide you with a link to the tool in the description section of the video. As you can see, this makes for a beautiful airport. And let me just, okay, so if you can see now, the lighting that was for a freeware airport, this lighting looks actually pretty amazing. Looks very nice. The taxiways and the runway here, and of course all the airport buildings are illuminated, and all the lights have been carefully placed in the airport vicinity, which gives it a very nice look, and it actually looks, well, somewhat close to Atlanta International. Again, folks, this is a freeware airport, and it is developed completely using the Lego bricks of X-Plane. So nothing payware here, and none of the libraries that you see have been used to develop this airport. All default stuff, all free, and it's awesome. Okay, let's move on. Okay, our next airport is ICO code Echo Delta Delta Charlie, which is Dresden Airport. And let me tell you that this is one of the very best freeware airports that I have seen created with X-Plane's Lego bricks. Beautifully detailed, everything looks so nice in this airport. The placement of the buildings, the trees, as you can see, this airport qualifies for, you know, maybe a $10 payware airport. It looks really nice, and the buildings, you know, you look at the details really that the developer of this airport have put into this. There's a lot of work, by the way, that has gone into this. Now, WED as a tool is really a nice tool to have. I'm not a very patient person, and you know, I downloaded the tool, I used it, you know, for a little while. I tried to modify some of the airports, you know, that are available, but then I kind of gave up. But you know, if you're a little more patient than I am, maybe, you know, maybe you'll have fun creating some airports for X-Plane. Absolutely incredible airport. Looks very nice. Look at the amount of detail. Right here, all the vehicles and the cars in the parking lot. It's just really, there's a lot of work that has gone into this airport, and I really appreciate you know, the time the developer has put into creating this airport for X-Plane. Again, this is a freeware airport, and it is developed completely using the Lego bricks of X-Plane. And from Dresden Airport, here we are at Munich Airport. This is actually the airport that a lot of you have asked me about when I did the first impressions video of the IXEG 737. A lot of people have asked me, what is the airport that you took off from, and whether it's freeware or payware, and it is this airport here, which is completely freeware. And again, this airport was developed using WED tool and the Lego bricks of X-Plane. So more Lego bricks, more freeware, and more awesome airports for X-Plane 10. And let me tell you folks that this airport in particular, a lot of work that has gone into making this airport, and the lighting looks pretty close to the actual airport. The placement of the buildings is actually pretty accurate, and it's really easy on the frames. It's absolutely a joy to fly in and out of this airport. Now, I'm pretty sure that you'll find other freeware airports for Munich on the X-Plane org portal. But this airport I particularly like a lot because of the lighting. I think it's really done with a lot of care, and I can tell just from, you know, from using WED briefly that these lights have probably been, you know, hand placed, and you can just really look at the detail that has gone into making this beautiful airport. It's a large airport, so I think a lot of hours have gone into making this airport and making it look the way it does. So for all of those of you who asked me about the airport that I took off from in my first impressions video of the IXEG 737, it is Munich Airport, and it is this beautiful freeware airport available on the X-Plane Scenery Gateway. And all the way from Europe to the Far East, we are at Beijing Capital International in China. And again, folks, this airport is a freeware airport, and as you can see, it looks absolutely amazing. The placement of the 3D objects, the taxiways, the lighting, everything has been really modeled to perfection and with a lot of care. Now, this is not, this is not a high fidelity airport. I wouldn't say that it's a high fidelity representation of the actual airport, but this is what you can expect X-Plane to have in the future in terms of the out-of-the-box airports that ship with the product. And this is really a great addition to X-Plane. And all the way from the Far East to the west coast of the United States, we are at Los Angeles International Airport, ICAO code Kilo Lima Alpha X-Ray. And probably if you look over at the X-Plane.org website, you will find some better looking airports that are also freeware for X-Plane. But this airport, the reason I really like this airport, it's really easy on the frames, and then it still allows you to arrive into Los Angeles with a beautiful night approach if you're arriving at night. And as you can see, even during daylight, the airport looks very, very nice, very convincing, very nice 3D building, great details, some static aircrafts as well. And again, this is an absolutely freeware airport. It doesn't use any libraries or anything like that. It's just really default X-Plane objects, nothing else. And this is, of course, easy on the frames. You will never get the errors, that this particular library is missing or this particular object could not be found, simply because this is something built using, X-Plane objects. And these airports, all of these airports, go through a very strict quality control by Laminar Research. So Laminar Research actually verifies these airports. They make sure that they work with X-Plane, and those that pass the quality check will make it in the next release of X-Plane. Folks, there are two tools that I will direct your attention to. One I already mentioned, which is the WED tool used to create scenery, and there is another tool called the Overlay Editor. Now, the Overlay Editor is a great tool to edit airports that are in your custom scenery folder, and they will basically help you, for example, remove aircrafts or remove objects that you don't want in your scenery. Now, I found that with some scenery airports, removing some of the static aircrafts greatly improved performance. Simply because even if the element is static, it's still rendered by the by your card. The shadow is also it will basically add to the FPS hit. So everything really in the airports, in the scenery, will basically consume frames and will consume resources of your machine. So I will show you those two tools in a minute. The WED tool, of course, the links for all these tools will be provided in the description section below. But for now, let me go ahead and take you to the X-Plane Scenery Gateway, and let's see how we can search for our favorite airports. Welcome to the X-Plane Scenery Gateway. This is exactly where you would come to either search for your favorite airport or register to become a scenery artist. The links for the WED tool is available here, which is the World Editor. You can get the latest version here. I will provide you with the link of the gateway in the description section of the video. Okay, so how do you search for your favorite airport? Let's suppose that we're going to look for Munich, which is the airport everyone was asking about in the IXCG First Impressions video. So you get it here, you click there, and you will get the history of the development of this airport. And this check mark here says that this is the recommended version. So this is the scenery for EDDM, Echo Delta Delta Mike, and this would be, of course, the status of approved, and this is the recommended version that you should get. And of course, if there are any issues, there are a few more comments here that you can read to understand, you know, what kind of changes have gone through this particular scenery. To download, of course, you would just say download, and it will basically appear here, and then we can open the folder, and simply you say extract to, and then you simply place it in your X-Plane custom scenery folder, and you're good to go. All right, let's cancel that. Okay, so as you can see, folks, it's very simple to find your, you know, your favorite airports. We can start. We can search for something else, which is Zulu Bravo Alpha Alpha. And as you can see, this is Beijing Capital International. In the same way, you click there, and as you can see, it started here from the Wedbot as a 2D airport. It then has gone through you know, modifications from users, and this is the recommended version here, which was added on the 22nd of September. Now, when you see the green approved here, you see that in green and it's approved, that means that this airport is either already part of X-Plane, or that it will be included in the next release. So this is basically what I wanted to share with you in terms of the gateway, and I hope that this has been useful for you folks. And now I want to show you the overlay editor. Let's do that. All right, folks, so this is the overlay editor, and it's actually quite simple to use. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say open, and then you can you know, go to the airport that you want to change, and let's go, for example, to Echo Delta Delta Charlie Scenery Pack, which I've downloaded off the X-Plane Scenery Gateway, and I will say OK, and then what it will do is it will load the airport here in the display, and as you can see, it's loading the objects now. Okay, so this is actually the airport. This is exactly what we saw in the video, and everything here is actually, you see this aircraft now, you can actually delete it. You can delete this object completely, so you can actually move things around if you want, and once you're done with this, you can simply say save, and then it will save the airport. So this is what I wanted to show you in this video, folks. I hope that you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I hope that this has been a useful video. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.